Hi, and congratulations on completing week 3 and moving into week 4, interpreting the law. This is kind of a fun week. We get to do a couple of different things. One, we're going to be looking at how Israel understood law and how other cultures around Israel understood law, to see if in fact legal codes in the Bible and legal codes outside of the Bible are similar or different, and how they might be both. In addition, we're going to do something that I find very useful, which is trying to understand what it means to interpret the Bible, as far as, is there one meaning we're trying to get to? Are there a bunch of meanings that we're trying to get to, and whatever or within reason, whatever you come up with is great? Or is there one meaning and then the New Testament has another? So it's a deep topic, and one that we're going to spend a little bit of time in a writing assignment as well as in a discussion post exploring. So with that in mind, under assignment 4.1, in 3 pages, and that's an approximation. You can make it 12 pages, you can make it 2 pages. Analyze the similarities and differences between the law code of Hammurabi and the laws in Exodus chapter 21 to 23, which is the book of the covenant, not the 10 commandments, but the book of the covenant, which is 21 to 23 in Exodus. So do these 2 law codes, the book of the covenant in Exodus and the law code of Hammurabi, do they share a common purpose, and do they share similarities, or are they different? In addition, add a paragraph explaining why the 2 codes may share similar laws and language. Don't forget to include an introduction and a conclusion in your assignment. Now, I am going to be looking for specifics on how these codes are similar, and specifics with examples on how these codes are different. I would like to see some outside research beyond the reading, as well as engagement with both the Bible, the assigned reading, and the law code of Hammurabi. To do a good job, I think you also need to have, at least in your introduction, a discussion of the timing of these 2 documents. When did Moses write Exodus, and when did Hammurabi develop his law code? So that there is an aspect of time involved here, as well as an aspect of content. Okay, so that's assignment 4.1. Assignment 4.2 is one fixed or several levels of meaning. After completing the reading incline, write a 2 to 3 page paper answering this question: what is the goal of biblical interpretation? And so this is, as you've come into the course, we're now 4 weeks in, and for many of you, this is your first exposure to Moody. If you were to write a personal position statement on what does it mean to do biblical interpretation, and what is our goal as we interpret the Bible? What is it? So I'm looking for your personal position, and I'm looking for your personal position as researched through Klein, who offers multiple answers to this question, and outside research and biblical support. So this is what does Klein have to say? What have you researched outside of Klein? And what does the Bible, most importantly, as our core foundation, have to say about what we should be looking for as we interpret the Bible? Be sure to include a discussion of the role of the author's intent and the reader's understanding. As just a really quick primer to that, God, through the Holy Spirit, inspired the writer to write something. All right, so we have God. What did God inspire through the Holy Spirit? And what did the author write? Physical words. The author wrote something. All right, now for those words to have value, there has to be a reader or a hearer if they were spoken. And so is it what God intended? Is it what the author wrote? Or is it what the reader understands? The Holy Spirit is involved in all three of those. But which one is the normative or the guiding idea that we need to look at? And in fact, a modern reader response understanding has been a focus of lots of discussion as to, it's what it means to me, what the Holy Spirit has me read, and therefore it's very personal because it is my reader understanding. Well, is that the key? Or is it, I don't care what you understand, it's what the author intended? Or is it, both of those really are of lesser value than what God intended? And so as we look at levels of meaning, it's important to come to, is it one fixed meaning, or is it multiple levels of meaning that are understood? So this first part, the paper should contain an introduction and a conclusion. In addition, each paper should include engagement with the assigned reading, biblical support, and I would add here outside research. Now, then based upon your paper, you're to write a discussion post. And I know many of you will do this backwards, which is you'll do your discussion post and then your paper. But at least you should have done the thought process that is involved in your paper first. After you have read Klein for this week, do you believe that the biblical text has one fixed meaning or several levels of meaning? So essentially, you're taking the core of your longer paper and you're writing your thesis in a page, 250 to 300 words, as a discussion post for others to review and comment. Be sure to interact with Klein reading in addition to your own reflections and arguments, and I would add here, based upon a review of the Bible. So on this discussion post, I'm really looking for some fairly in-depth comments and not just a cursory understanding of what you think. It's what have you researched and what do you believe based upon biblical evidence. This week's discussion post to me is very meaningful because it's going to inform, as you move through your courses at Moody, how are you coming to the intent and the meaning of a biblical passage. So this week is really important from our perspective on interpreting the Bible. If you have any questions, feel free to email or call me. I'm in Antigua this week, shouldn't be moving around too much. So if you email me, I should be able to get back to you fairly quickly. Have a wonderful week and enjoy spring. Talk to you soon.